Hello, it is December 4th, and I figured I'd start my first vlog update for December. I am about to kill my camera because this is the third time I filmed this little segment, and apparently the first time it cut off and the second time it didn't save. So yay! I've had a lot of practice telling you what I'm about to tell you. So hopefully this doesn't turn into a shit show because I've said it too much. So, that being said, I finished Station 11 on December 1st, and then I decided I wanted a quick audiobook that I could fit into my Spotify 15 hours, blah, blah, blah. Which, if you know how to track how much time you've used on Spotify audiobooks, that would be great. Because I hate that I can't see how much time I have left to determine, like, what audiobook to pick. That would be a really great feature. So anyways, I decided to pick up a Life on Our Planet by David Attenborough because I thought it would be a really nice soothing one to read like before bed. And chapter 1 was that. After that, it is not that. So I have pivoted to reading it during the day. So part 1, because it's multiple chapters within that part, is about his life experience and basically is a memoir of his life and kind of giving you almost his background and his credentials. So that way, when you get into part 2 and part 3, you listen more to what he's saying. And so when you get to part 2, it turns into, this is my vision statement of what the future holds if we don't do anything. And it is dark and heavy and devastating and not something I could listen to before I went to bed, because I would have had nightmares of world-ending events. I really loved his writing throughout this and the gravity that he doesn't hold back his punches. He tells you exactly how he feels about it and exactly what science shows as being our future, and uses really great parallels to really drive home his point. One of them was about bacteria, and how if you create the perfect scenario for bacteria in a petri dish and seal it up closed and watch it, it's going to have a boom of exponential growth. But then it's going to reach a point that is like, the tipping point. And all of a sudden, everything starts dying off because they've used up all of their resources. They used up all of the things that make that petri dish the best place for the bacteria, and basically create a poisonous environment for itself because of its excess of use of the resources and the exponential growth. And it's like, dang, that is chilling to read when he's paralleling it to us being the bacteria and Earth as our petri dish. So it definitely it's definitely a hard read, but it's something that I think everybody should read. And then when we get to part 3, it is all about what we can do to help that not happen and what we can do as individuals, but also what needs to happen globally. And so that's where I'm at now. And it definitely has more hope, but is also quite terrifying to read as a person in the US with everything going on, because who knows what the next few years are going to hold for climate change in general as far as policies and whatnot. So I definitely it's definitely a tough read, but something that I feel like everyone in the world should read. So I am planning on picking up The Veiled Kingdom on Kindle Unlimited. So that is going to be my new bedtime read. And that way I can get this done before our book club meeting. That's what I meant. It is an IRL book club book, and I need it done before our meeting, which is the 22nd of December, We're doing it just before Christmas because it's going to be our Christmas book exchange. The Veil Kingdom is fantasy romance, and that's all I know about it. So hopefully I like it. It's definitely a genre that is hit or miss for me. I don't always super enjoy them, but almost always they're a fun read, if that makes sense. Like, it's like if you watch, like reality TV or whatever, like, it's fun. It's not good, but it's fun. And so that's how a lot of romantasy goes for me. So hopefully this one is fun and good, and that would be great. But that is going to be my Kindle read for the next little bit to read before bed. And then I decided I wanted to for sure pick up one of my TBR books from my TBR pools because I didn't get to the one in November. So I went on Libby to see Out of Borne and To Sleep in the Sea of Stars, which would have a shorter hold. Borne ended up having a 6-week hold, which is crazy considering how long ago that was published, but also not that crazy because Jeff VanderMeer is quite popular even in mainstream circles. And To Sleep in the Sea of Stars had no hold, so I borrowed it, and I will be starting that as soon as I finish A Life on Our Planet. So that's going to be my new audiobook. I do have the physical books for both of these, so if I get time to read, I can grab the physical book and speed up the audiobook and read a little quicker that way. That is one of my favorite things to do because I feel like I really retain the material really great that way because I'm seeing it with my eyes and reading it, but also hearing it, which is a lot of fun. It's definitely my favorite read to read. But also I have some crochet projects I want to work on, so having the audiobook is a must to go through and be able to do some stuff outside of just reading all the time. So speaking of book club books, I can show you the book club book that I am doing for the exchange. We do a Dirty Santa gift exchange for book club, and so we wrap the books and we put 3 words on it, basically do a blind book gift exchange thing. And let me grab the book for you. And since this is going to come out after we have our book club, I figured I can show you what I got. So this is Annie Bot by Sierra Greer. I got this because it was on the Goodreads Choice Awards, and that's where I first saw it. The science fiction category for me is really great on Goodreads because I don't hear about any of these books unless they're on that as much, whereas space operas and stuff like that, I'm looking for those. It definitely sucks that the traditional what I think of as sci-fi doesn't get as much love on Goodreads as the kind of literary counterparts. But also it's kind of nice for me because then I hear about these books that I wouldn't necessarily hear about. This one is about a AI robot that is meant to be the girlfriend of a human. And because of the AI aspect of her, she is learning. And I think basically learning to be more human, and therefore is wanting to be more independent and that kind of thing. So I think that this is going to be a really interesting concept of maybe some thriller aspects. I don't know. It's kind of given that vibe. It feels like it's going to have some great messages. So it is a novella. It's very short. And I did get my own copy because I wanted to be able to read this too. So maybe whoever gets it, we can buddy read and that kind of thing. I also decided to crochet a book sleeve to go with it. So I have that here to kind of show you my progress on that. I am doing a basic granny square pattern, and then I'm gonna letter fold, like that, and then put a button so that way you have this part open for the book sleeve. I'm really liking how nice and tight and small the stitches are. I have made one of these before and I used a bigger hook, and the stitches were just a little too wide for me to really like it. This is yarn I'm using. It's just some that I got from Walmart because that's the most accessible place to get yarn for me. But it has all these nice earthy colors. I do wish that I had started from this point and done the yellow to the orange to this red to the green, because it looks like I'm gonna get the brown, this brown gray to blue to gray again, which is not my favorite, but you know what, that's fine. We'll work with it. This is the hook I'm using. I actually really love it. I got it from the Minnesota Ren Fair this year, and it's interchangeable. So I have all these different hooks that you slide into this hand carved wood piece. and it's like my new favorite thing. The only thing I found with it is the hook sizes are maybe a little off. I can't quite tell, but it feels like they're a little different than what I'm used to using. So, which is fun. It's doing its job, and it's just a learning curve to figure out like which hook to use and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think that is my update. I can't remember if I forgot anything that I told you before in a different version of this that got lost. But I think that's it for now, and I will update you again when I get more into some other books. But A Life on Our Planet, must read, and I'm going to go ahead and give it 5 stars because I can't imagine that the last hour and a half is going to change much, because really part 2 is where it really hits home and everything. So yeah, let's go on to the next update. So I'm gonna update you on my reading so far. It's been a while since I've checked in because I have had sick kids and just super busy this whole time. You can see Artemis back there. She just hopped into the window. We got some snow last night, so it's a little bit pretty. This is about as much snow as we get here in Tennessee, so I don't expect to get too much more than what this is here. But I should update you with my reading. So I have finished David Attenborough's book, and it was really, really good. I really enjoyed hearing all the different things that he was talking about and kind of his visions for what we need to do for the future. So highly recommend that. It is a very short read on Spotify audio. So that's definitely a great one to use some of your audiobook hours with, because you can go through and finish it up pretty quickly. I did figure out how to see my audiobook hours, so that's nice. I have used them all up until I think tomorrow. I think it resets tomorrow, which is nice because then I can maybe pick up another book on there. I have started To Sleep in the Sea of Stars by Christopher I heard her say it on the audiobook. Paolini, I think is how you pronounce it. I'm horrible with pronouncing anything, so I am sorry if I pronounce an author's name wrong. But I just started it. I'm very much like still in chapter 2, I think. But so far, it's interesting. It has where we are colonizing different planets and that kind of thing, and moons. So so far we're following a woman who is a part of a team that is colonizing this moon and kind of testing all of the different aspects of it before it actually gets like lived on. And she is with like has started seeing one of the other people that is there, and they're trying to figure out how to be placed on the same missions and that kind of thing, so that way they can still be together. So I have no idea where this storyline is gonna go. There feels like there's about to be something tragic happen because it's like their last night at this place and there's a party and everything, but then the leader comes up and is like, hey, in the morning, can you go figure out what this is? Because we're getting like one of our sensors have gone down and it like sends biomaterial or something like that. So it's like, I feel like something's about to happen. Like I said, I'm literally on chapter 1. So I don't know if that's just the vibe it's getting, is there is about to be some sort of catastrophe that this character is going to have to figure out how to solve. But anyways, the other book I have been reading is The Veiled Kingdom. I forgot what the name of it was, by Holly Renne. I am 55% of the way through the Kindle book. And if this wasn't my IRL book club book, I would have DNF'd it by now. It's just, it is not for me. I find it very cringy. I find it very stereotypical. it feels like a plot line that is in 2,000 other books. It's just, everything about it is meh. The writing, I don't like the writing. It's too simplified and almost like too modern to be in some sort of fantastical world. Like, it just, it's not for me, and I am so close to deciding just to DNF it. But it's an easy read, and I feel like I should finish it since it's my book club book, because I try to finish them more often than not. But yeah, I am not driving with it at all. So I might move on. I don't know. I'll give it I'll see if I can finish it maybe this week and give it a couple more days of reading at night and see if I can just power through it and get it done. So that way I can check it off my list as being done. But man, if this is one that I just picked up on a whim and was reading, I would have stopped at like 25% of the way through, because the main character and the writing and everything, like, she rolled her eyes like 3 times on one page, and I was like, you can't roll your eyes that much, please. Do something else. Anything else. But it's that kind of thing, and that just like, it's not something that I super enjoy. I think if it would have had a, like, more of a plot and like at least some sort of interesting thing to it, like, the writing would be okay. But you can't be not well written and not a good plot. It's a lot. So I'm gonna continue to hopefully power my way through it and finish it, so that way I can at least say that I read the book club book. But it's not going well right now, so we'll see. I don't know what I'm gonna pick up next. I feel like I might try Borne and possibly read Borne, see if I can get that on maybe ebook, and that way I can read that at night. But yeah, I need something fun to read. I also need to try a couple chapters of The Elements of Marie Curie, so I might try to do that today, and so that way I can at least start it and figure out if I like the style of it and that kind of thing, to nominate it for my work book club. So I do need to do that, because I do need to get these books back to the library because they are overdue. And I'm going to have some fines to pay, but I feel like I have fines to pay every month, because I feel like the loan time at my library is super short. Like, I think it's only 2 weeks. And so, yeah, I need to finish up some of the books that I got from there and go ahead and send those back. But hey, you know, it's just, I'm helping to pay for the library, you know? That's the way I look at it, is if I have it a little longer and have to pay $3 to keep it a little longer, then at least I'm helping pay for my library. So that's my viewpoint on it. But, you know, I also understand that not everybody would feel that same way. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna attempt Borne soon and get through that and see how I feel about that. And that is my update for now. So I will get back to work and listening to my audiobook and go from there. Okay. So I think it is time to kind of update you again on my reading. So the last, I think I checked in, I was trying a couple chapters of this. I think it's one that I will find super interesting. I'm hoping that others will find it interesting. The first couple chapters were very, like, heavy on content, if that makes sense. Like, it's a lot of information. And so I hope it's not that way all the way through. Like, I hope there's a little bit more of almost a feeling like storytelling and narrative to make it a little less like fact after fact after fact, like this person did this and then did this and then did this. So I'm a little unsure if I want to nominate this for my book club book for my work, but it's just so fitting for the type of work that we do and that kind of thing that I feel like I need to at least nominate it, and then if people vote for it, then they vote for it. So yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I need to go ahead and take this back to the library now because I'm not gonna plan on finishing reading it right now. It was just kind of a see the vibes of the book type thing. I did finish The Veiled Kingdom. I gave it 2 stars. It's just everything in that book could have been a solid 4 chapters to a book, you know? And I have a feeling that this whole trilogy, or however long this book series is going to be, needs to be condensed down a lot, because I felt like everything that happened in this book was absolutely nothing happening, if that makes sense. It was all there just to have witty banter. And I like witty banter. Like, don't get me wrong. I am a fan of witty banter. But this was not good witty banter. And it just felt like the whole thing was there just to get them into a relationship and just to have miscommunication, which is not something that I enjoy. I'm okay with a little bit of miscommunication, but at the end of the day, this was too much. And, you know, it just, everything was stretched out into one length novel. And like I said, I felt like it could have been 4 chapters. And if it would have been 4 chapters of a book that actually had a plot and actually had scenarios happening that gave stakes to the book, then I maybe would have enjoyed it. But yeah, it was not good. And I do not plan on finishing the series. So if you want to give me like a 2-second comment of what the second book happens, just so I know, that'd be great, because I'm not going to read it. So that is how I felt about that. So it's going to be fun going into book club on Sunday, and hoping that no one really loves it, because I don't want to be like, oh, yeah, you loved it, okay. I understand. And I know there's quite a few people that love it, because, I mean, it made it on the Goodreads Choice Awards. But yeah, it's not for me. And sorry if it is for you. I'm glad it is, but it's not for me. I am, gosh, probably 20% of the way through To Sleep in the Sea of Stars. It is going almost exactly how I felt like it was going to be going. I didn't know that it was going to be like a almost like symbiote type of thing, like parasitable almost type of thing. Didn't know that. Like I said, I don't know anything about this going into it other than it was sci-fi. But yeah, it definitely is going the way I've been predicting so far, which makes it a little hard to want to keep on reading, not gonna lie. And I feel like the names of things are really weird in here. Like, there's a spaceship that's the extenuating circumstances, and I think that's a spaceship. but it's such like a off name that when they're talking about it, it doesn't feel like it's a spaceship, but I'm pretty sure it is a spaceship. So that's a little weird. So I'm not loving it, but I'm not hating it. And so far I'm going to continue on. It's written fine. There's nothing like bad about it. It's just, I'm finding it a little bit predictable right now. And so I'm a little put off because of that. And the naming thing is a little bit of a put off. But other than that, like, the characters are fine. The main character is fine. I don't love her so far, but I don't hate her either. And that's kind of how I feel about this book. So we'll see. Hopefully in the next like 20-25%, like I'll get to like the halfway mark, and then I can be like, okay, I'm getting into it. Because that's how I would like to feel around that point. And if I still don't feel like I'm super into it around that point, then I'll have to start questioning on whether or not I'm going to finish it. Because it is a heft of the book. I mean, it's, you know, it's a good 500 pages at least. Oh, no. It's 800. It's a lot more than I thought it was. It's 868 pages. Yeah, if I get to page 400 and I'm still not, like, into it, then yeah, I think it's going to have to be a DNF. Because that's a lot of pages to read, and just feeling meh. So, it's better than The Failed Kingdom. Because that one, I was like, by the point I was at the 50% mark, I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this. And the only reason I didn't DNF it is because it's my book club book. This, I'm at least like, it's fine. There's nothing bad. It's just there's nothing good yet. And I'm hoping to get to something good. So that's my hope. I did read the first like 2, 3, 4 chapters of Borne. It's a little weird because it's not really like in traditional chapter format. You just suddenly have a bold text and then it goes on to the next section. This one is definitely one that I don't know if I'm going to finish, which I'm really sad about because I love the cover. Like, it's super cool. Like, the dust jacket, super cool. But it's weird. It is very weird. And I don't get along with weird books very well. I tend to get confused and just like check out, if that makes sense. Like, it just doesn't draw me in when it's super weird. And so far this is super weird. So it's definitely not hitting the mark so far. So this might be a DNF, but I'm gonna give it a while longer to see if I actually get into the storyline, because it's written great. It's a great written book. It's, you know, everything about it is good. It's interesting. The world is unlike anything I've read. But it kind of has that nonsensical feel. The same way that The Hike by Drew McGarry, is that the last name? Anyways, I read that and DNF'd that for book club, and I got like 25% of the way into that one. And it's just, I don't handle nonsensical well. And a lot of this is just, it's nonsensical. And I can't imagine what they're talking about. Like, Maud is apparently this huge sentient being that destroys the world. But they also like have like this like floating like body that can fly up into the air, and so people like, it captures stuff in its fur and people will raid it for like resources. And I'm like, I can't imagine that. Like, I don't know what is going on. And there's a lot of talk of like Maud versus the company and like trying to figure out what all is going on there. And I can't follow any of it. And so yeah, I'm going to give this a little bit longer, but it's most likely going to be a DNF and an unhaul for me. Just because I can't follow it. I might actually put this as like a little extra book in my book club Christmas thing, because there's a couple people in my book club that I think would actually really enjoy this. So I might pass it along to them as like an extra book in the book exchange. So that might be what happens with this book. But yeah, it's not feeling like it's for me, and that's where I'm at with that. So I think the plan is to continue on with the Sleep of Stars for right now, and then I might switch over to something like the Wheel of Ascension, just to give me something I know I'm gonna love. because it's been a rough month for reading. It's just, I'm not reading a lot of stuff that I'm like super excited to pick up, which makes it hard to read to begin with. And so I think that's the plan. I'm gonna attempt to finish this, get more into this, and then I'm gonna switch over to the Wheel of Ascension and most likely give up on this because I don't know. And I've read a pretty good page amount. I've gotten to part 2, which is at page 79. So I've read 79 pages. It's just, I couldn't tell you a thing that is going on. I couldn't tell you anything. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. So I think that is it. I have finished, I'll show you this without putting my face too much into the, I have finished my book sleeve. It is pretty. Right now I have it stretching over Leviathan Wakes because it's one of my biggest books. So that way it can kind of stretch it out. The only thing I have left to do is add a button. I need to find a button that I like for this thing. But I tried a little bit of a different pattern than just a regular granny square. And so it's made it a little lopsided, like it's not perfect. But I wanted it to be more rectangular so that way it fits books easier versus the granny square would be like really loose on one side and tight on the other. So what I did is I kind of marked where it needed to fit around the books. And at those 4 places, like I marked here and here and the same on the other side. And so in between those marks, I only single crocheted, and then around the others, I double crocheted. So that way it got a little bit more rectangular. But because of that, it has like a little bit of a pooch here, like where it doesn't perfectly fit. But I am still happy with it. I think it looks really pretty. I like the colors. So yeah, I am overall happy with my book sleeve. So next step is to continue on the temperature blanket because I haven't done any work on that because I've decided to do this. So, you know, just typical me going through and ignoring one project to start a new one. But yeah, I think that's where we're at, and I will talk to you next time. Bye. Hello, reading update time. So I have decided to DNF Borne. It was not for me. Couldn't really just grasp my head around it, and then it's just making me feel like anxious reading it. So I have decided to DNF that, but I do think it is a book that particular people in my book club would really love. So I am adding it to as part of my gift exchange. This is like an extra book to go along with my other, which turns out to be kind of a little bit of a weird package. So that is what I decided to do with the Borne. So that is another book off my TBR, which is exciting. I am 375-ish pages into To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. And it's not bad, but I'm still just not super absorbed into it. Like when I'm reading it, I'm fine. Like it's like, cool, this is interesting. It's sci-fi, space opera, exploration with aliens. So, you know, all of that is checking off my list. But when I'm not reading it, I'm like, is it really that good? Like it's one that's not getting me excited to draw back to it, which makes it a little hard to go through and read. So it's definitely a slow process. So I don't know how I'm feeling about it, to be honest. I think I have like 8 more days of having the audiobook because I got it through Libby. So I am for sure gonna read as much as I can in those 8 days. And at that point, if I'm still just not feeling it, I might DNF it, because I know I'm going through it and reading the physical with the audiobook, and I know that if I was just doing physical, I would have already DNF'd this book, because it would be even heftier of a, heft to read and get through. And since it's really just not drawing me in the audiobook or the physical book, it's disappointing, because I was hoping it would be something that I'd be so excited and it would be like a page turner type thing. And it's feeling a lot like other things I've read or other things I've watched. And so it's making it feel a little like predictable and a little just like been there, done that type of thing. So, yeah, it's like, it's not that I can pinpoint one book, like, oh, it is definitely like trying to remake this book type thing. It's just a lot of the vibes is very, stereotypical almost of science fiction and space operas. Which I know it's this author's first time going outside of fantasy and that kind of thing, so maybe that has something to do with it. But it's just I'm not feeling excited to read it. And that part really sucks, because like I said, it's not a bad written book. It's not, the characters are not bad, there's nothing about it that is off-putting other than the fact that it's just not exciting to me. And that makes me feel bad. So, yeah, I'm going to continue on and hope, because I am interested to figure out like what is going on, because there is some aspects to it that is intriguing, but it's just the overall of it is like, it's feeling so like middle of the road, 3.5 star, that it's hard to keep on, if that makes sense. Not that that's typically bad, but when 300 pages in that's how you're feeling, and now you have 500 more pages to go, it is off-putting. So it's like, if it was a fast read, like The Veiled Kingdom, I'll give you, it was a fast read. I flew through that book and gave it a 2-star. This, I'm not flying through it, and I'm still like feeling like it's a 3-star. So that's like the difference, you know what I mean? Like, I finished the other one, but it's because it was so fast. Like, I finished it in a couple days and I was done. And I was like, okay, I am done. I've completed that. I know how I feel about that, and I can move on. Where this is taking so long. And yeah, there are things that can happen that can make me really excited towards the end, but it's just, it's taking so long and feels so long that it's hard for me to get through right now. So I am still going to try. I am still planning on finishing. It's a lot. And I don't want it to be, like, I want reading to be fun, and this is just kind of meh right now. So yeah, I am definitely not feeling it like I was hoping I would. So that is your update. Hopefully the next one is better. That's all I can say. It is so cold today. For like Tennessee, it's very cold. And I don't like the cold very much. So I'm going to curl up and read for a little bit. And relax. I am on page 467 of this book, so I'm officially like right at the halfway point. It's going, it's To Sleep with the Sea Stars, by the way. It's something. I find that I really like as I'm reading it. Like, it's interesting, and I want to finish it because it is a well-written sci-fi book. Sorry, it's like super windy outside. But it just, there's so many things that feel like other things that I've seen, and it's bugging me. And I think with just how long it is, I'm getting a little bored. And I've read a ton of long books, like 800-page book is not like that scary of a thing. It's just there's so much happening without so much happening, if that makes sense. And I feel like there's a lot of world within this book that I'm not fully like getting into. So I'm going to read here for about an hour before I have to go pick up my kids, and then see if I can get a good chunk of this read. I'm going to turn on the audiobook as I read and just try to get through a good chunk of this. I think my audiobook shows that I've listened to 17 hours and I have 15 hours to go. And it's just something about that is really daunting when you're not fully invested into a book. There's definitely parts that I like and that kind of thing. It's just, it feels like there is so many words for what has happened so far that maybe didn't have to be there. I don't know. I don't know if it is the writing style in this. Like, there's so many different types of writing style within this because it's based on like the different species that's talking per se. And so some of it I really like. Some of it goes way over my head. Like there was this part about the maw, and if you read this book, there was like this whole thing about the splitting of the pattern and, you know, the pattern becoming sentient and, you know, that kind of thing. And I get what it was doing. Like it was showing you kind of insight into what this thing is thinking, but its thinking is so like different from our thinking that it kind of just hurt my head. And I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this book because I still want to read it. So I'm clearly enjoying it enough that I want to know what happens. But it's also like, it's feeling so long. And I think that's because I'm not fully invested into it. Like I'm invested enough that I want to know what happens and continue reading. But I'm not invested enough to like be flying through it and loving the path that it's taking. So I think there's just a little bit of a miss somewhere between me and the writing style and the world building. Like they're not completely meshing. And also like the characters, like I get what it's trying to do. It's trying to be like this really cool family, but I haven't connected to any of them enough that I fully care. And I don't know, there's something lacking that I just can't quite pinpoint what it is. And it's very frustrating, to be honest. So that's how I'm feeling right now. I am not looking forward to the fact that I have 400 more pages to go. And so I don't know what that means. I'm kind of at a loss right now. I might message my friend and be like, what do I do? Do I just give up? And just stop, or do I push through and hope that I'll like it more by the end? Because it definitely is just, it's not doing something, and I don't know what that is. Hey, I'm back again. Another little update. I was reading my book and my husband got home early and got me a coffee. It's the Friday before Christmas, so he got to get off work a little bit early, which is nice. But I was telling him about the book and my feelings on the book. And he's like, it sounds like you want to DNF that and just not read it. And I'm like, it does sound like that, doesn't it? And then I just kept on talking to him, and so I go back to reading it. And he's like, you're procrastinating reading it, are you? And I was like, yes, yes, I am. So I was like, hey, it'd be fun if you just picked a random book off my shelf for me to read. And he's like, can you like pick out a couple for me to pick from? And I'm like, no, just pick a random book, please. And the first one he picked, I hadn't read. So I am now going to read Empire the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. I was going to do the Wheels of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson, but I had to return the book to the library, and I have not been able to go to the library to get it back again. So I guess this is going to be probably my final book of the year. So that does mean I am officially DNFing to Sleep in the Sea of Stars, which makes me really sad because I love the cover of it. And Christopher Paolini, when I was growing up, like through high school, the Aragon series was one of my favorite things ever. Like I have it as a part of my book tattoo on my back. So it's very, very sad that I'm gonna DNF that. And possibly unhaul those books. I pulled them off my shelf and set them to the side as a possible unhaul. And I don't know. There's a part of me that doesn't want to give up on it. But I know I need to give up on it right now because it's not vibing with me. And I just feel like I need to read something that I'm super enjoying, because a lot of this month has not been stuff that I have particularly loved. And so, yeah, that's the plan. We're gonna do this one. I do have the audiobook for this already, so that works. So I'm gonna go through and read me some Jay Kristoff. I love his Nevernight series. It's one of my favorite things ever. It is dark and brutal, and the characters in it are so good. And so I'm hoping I get that same feeling within this of just really latching onto the character and that kind of thing, because that's what was really missing, just like from the Sea of Stars, was I wasn't connecting with the characters very well, and therefore I wasn't necessarily caring what was happening and that kind of thing. So I'm gonna get this started and go from there. Hello. So it is now after Christmas. It is the 26th, so Christmas was yesterday. And I figured I'd go through and update you because I haven't updated you since the Friday before Christmas, so like a week ago. When I left off, I was DNFing to Sleep in the Sea of Stars. I am now reading The Empire the Vampire. I am 44% of the way through, and I remember that it was on Kindle Unlimited, so I can read it with my Kindle and the audiobook, which is like awesome because that's such a thick book that it was so heavy to carry around reading. And I wanted to make sure to read it physically, like read it also and not just do the audiobook because of the pictures that were woven in. So the Kindle has been great for that. And so that's what I've been doing, which is nice. And then I figured I'd get on here and share like kind of how I'm feeling about it, and then also share what I got for Christmas, because I didn't really like get enough books to do a full-on like book haul video, because I didn't ask for a lot of books this year because my shelves are already so full, but I didn't want to show that. So first off, Empire the Vampire. I am 44% of the way into it and loving it. It is giving me all of the excitement of reading that I wanted to Sleep the Sea of Stars to give me. So that is definitely a check, like a plus, good job. We're going ahead and switching and deciding to do that, because I definitely would have felt pretty unmotivated to be reading right now if that wasn't the case. I am home with my daughters. They're home from school, so they are playing in their room right now. So I've been like doing a little bit of work and reading and that kind of thing today, which has been really cool. So yes, I am loving Empire the Vampire. It has given me all the vibes that Nevernight did, but in a completely different way. Like, this definitely has more of a gothic horror kind of element, where the other one was so much straight, more fantasy. So that's really cool. I love the way that the world building is setting up and kind of building out these characters. I do think it's a little weird, the mix of like accents within this, because there's definitely a very like prominent French element and like that kind of thing within this, but also like there's some characters saying like laddie and stuff like that, which is very Scottish to me. And so it's kind of interesting to have such a strong influence of real world languages when this is such a fantastical world. So that definitely is being a little weird, but I don't mind it. It's just something that I've kind of been like, okay, kind of thing. So first up for my haul, I will do the books, because I actually got a whole book set for my book exchange, which I was really excited about. And that is The Pillars of the Earth, the 3 books, and then this little like standalone of this by Ken Follett. My friend Jessica put these in as her gift exchange because she has read, I think, all of these now, and they're some of her favorites. I know for sure she's read and loved this one. So this is one that I now need to read in January, which is hefty. I think it's like 900 pages. Yeah, 960 something. So it's definitely going to be a thick read that is going to take me a while to get through. So I'm probably going to be packing January with a bunch of novellas to go along with this, because this is a thicken. But I am excited to read it just because I have heard her talk about it, about how much she loves it, and the like spanning timelines of this whole world. I think is something that will be interesting to read. This is historical fiction, and I don't think there's any fantastical elements, so that will definitely be something that is a little bit more outside of my comfort zone. But I am tentatively looking forward to this and seeing how it goes. There were some other really great books in the exchange, but this is definitely the one that the description and knowing who put it in like drew me in the most. One of the other books that was in the exchange that's really sad that, I didn't get either was The Tainted Cup. So that's definitely one I'm going to keep my eye out of to get, because it has been on my wish list for a while now. So I'm excited to see the person who got that, what they think of it. And then I'm excited because Jessica got my book, Annie bought. So I'm excited to see what she thinks of that one as well. So I think it's going to be a really fun month to go through for our book club, because we're all reading different things this much, which is different than what we typically do. But every January we always do where we read our Christmas books. And then for Christmas from my mom, I got the paperbacks of Miss Borne, and she got me Era 2. So I got all of these now, which I'm really excited about. And I'm definitely gonna have to build out a Sanderson shelf, so that way I can start doing all these. But that means I now have the second book to go ahead and start reading, which is really, really exciting. And I wasn't like super I was torn between whether I wanted to get this set or the original hardcovers, just because typically I collect hardcovers, but I'm trying to be like more open to paperbacks because they are so much easier to read. Like, look how nice and floppy this thing is. Like, it's gonna be a joy to read this set. And I do really like the covers and everything of this. So it is an awesome set that I'm glad to be adding to my shelves, and I can't wait to continue on with the series. So that might be another January thing, if I can get through the Pillars of the Earth quick enough. But anyways, that's my update, and hopefully you enjoy, and I will be updating you pretty soon, because it's right here at the end of the month, and seeing if I can finish the Empire of the Vampire before January 1st. That is my goal, so we'll see if I can do it. So it is technically January 2nd, which you may be saying, Megan, this is a December vlog. I know, I just want to add in one last clip because I got way too busy the last week and a half really of December, which is understandable with Christmas and then New Year's and everything. So I did finish Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. I actually finished it yesterday, so I technically finished it January. But I read 99% of the book in December, so I'm gonna count it as a December book. So this ended up being really, really good. I really enjoyed it. It was fun. It was entertaining. It was dark. And sometimes it was like kind of almost dark to be shocking, and that was a little off-putting. But overall, I had so much fun reading this. I gave it 5 stars just because of the entertainment of it was great. Sorry for the slight interruption. I had a child come and need help with a Christmas toy. But anyways, really enjoyed this, was able to finish it. It was a heft of a book. I'm really looking forward to getting into the second book of this. So I have a feeling it's going to show up pretty soon on my TBR. One, because that would complete or get caught up with the series. I need to look up and see if this is a duology, because if it is, then I'll be able to actually complete a series, which is one of my goals for the year. which is exciting. So I have a feeling probably around February this will be showing back up again. But yeah, I really loved the take on vampires here. It really went back to like classic, almost gothic inspired vampires, which is fun. The way that the characters are, nobody's super good in this, and nobody's like, I don't know, it just was really entertaining. I loved how it was like a split timeline, because it's basically your main character has been like caught by the vampires, and then you're being told his story as he's telling like this historian that has captured him. And so it's really cool to kind of have that almost unreliable narrator scenario, because the character's telling his own story and he's telling it in the way that he wants to tell it. And so that's kind of fun, and it kind of skips back and forth between very early in his life to later in his life and everything like that. So it definitely kept me entertained, and definitely enjoyed it. So I am glad I picked this one up. As far as To Sleep in the Sea of Stars, I have not thought about it since I stopped reading it. So I definitely think that's going to end up being a DNF and unhaul for me. I'm going to leave it on paused on Storygraph for right now, just to see, if it does come up. But as of right now, it definitely has not even crossed my mind. But that could be because I was so entertained with this book that I didn't think about it. So yeah, that is my reading for December, and I will be having my full like wrap up with stats and more like concrete reviews for you, possibly tomorrow if I could get it filmed and edited in time, with my kids being around, because it's been crazy with them being off of school. My schedule is all out of whack. So that is it for this video. I hope you liked and this vlog. Let me know if there's anything going forward that you'd like to see in these type of videos. And that is everything. So happy reading, stay cozy, stay crafty, and I'll see you next time. Bye.